Happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath, happy Sabbath. All right, this one's kind of a random topic. Messing around with my dog one day, just looking at her eyes. You know, I've done it before, but it just clicked all of a sudden. I guess because of some verses I ran into the other day. But just looking at the facial expressions and the eyes and how animals try to communicate in every way possible, except through the verbal kind of language that we use, right? Which also just kind of makes me think about the power of the tongue too. But that's something I'll have to give some more time to develop and read more. But essentially, this has to do with animals, right? And we're going to start off in Genesis 1, verse 24. And God said, "Let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beast of the earth after his kind." And it was so. And God made the beast of the earth after his kind, and cattle after their kind, and everything that creepeth upon the earth after his kind. And God saw that it was good. So God was creating the different species, right? The kinds. And these are the animals he's talking about on the sixth day. But also on the sixth day, God said, "Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth." So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he them. Male and female created he them. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, "Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth, and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth." So he made the creatures, cattle, the creeping things, the things on the earth on the sixth day, including man, and then gave man dominion over all that, right? So he is the one that's supposed to take care of all that. All right. Let's go to the second day, and let's go to there you go, verse 19, chapter, not the second day, but the second chapter, verse 19. "And out of the ground the Lord God formed every beast of the field." This is referring back to the sixth day, right? "And every fowl of the earth, of the air," or the fifth and sixth day, I guess all of creation, "and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he could call them. He would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof." So God made everybody, made the animals. He made the fish and the fowl on the days before the sixth. And he made the creatures on top of the earth on the sixth day, including man. And then he brought all the animals before Adam and told him to name them, right? Because he had dominion over everything, so they're here, they're yours to name. So it's much like when you go to, when you find a stray dog, or a dog comes up to you with no name, and because you've taken ownership and you want to care for it and love it and take care of it, you're going to name it, right? It takes me back to Abram and Abraham and Jacob and Israel and all that, right? So you name it, right? It's yours. You give it a name. But none of them quite filled that spot that a woman feels, right? There's something a woman can't do that these animals can't do. But nevertheless, there's some kind of bond between man and beast. So they were created on the same day, right? Let's go to Exodus 20:10. I'm going to start at verse 8. Exodus 28. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it, so it's the Sabbath, and it's not ours, it's not the Jews, it's not nobody's. The Sabbath is God's, right? It's the Lord's. It's His. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Not supposed to do any work on the Sabbath, the seventh day. Not you, not your son, not your daughter, not thy manservant, not thy maidservant, not the waitress, not the waiter, nor thy cattle, not your dog, not your donkey, not your cat, nothing, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. Nobody you come across or anything that's within your dominion, in your household, within your control, request, whatever it might be, beckoning, uh, no work, right? Chill out day, rest, just like the Lord did. I did everything I was supposed to do. I put my work in, I grinded for 6 days, and now this is my day of rest, right? So, but the point here is, nor thy cattle. So no person is supposed to work on the Sabbath, but neither are the animals. So created on the same day, this cattle was created on the same day as man. And on the Sabbath day, you're not supposed to have any animal working for you, just like you ain't supposed to be working. So created on the same day, you're supposed to rest on the same day with these animals. Let's take a look at something else. I think I skipped that part. Kind of doing this halfway on the fly. This is based off of a lesson I did with the kids earlier, and then when we were done and as we were concluding, I was thinking of a bunch of different other verses. So just bear with me here. We're going to Genesis chapter 9. But really, you could go back to the ark, though, right? So, all right. So let's see. Entering the ark. Verse 18. Genesis chapter 6, verse 18. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife and thy sons' wives with thee. Right? It kind of sounds like the beginning of the Sabbath commandment, right? And of every living thing of all flesh, two of every sort shall thou bring into the ark to keep them alive with thee. They shall be male and female. This is just like the Sabbath day commandment. So like the ark was a place of rest. They didn't have to go through the turmoil the rest of the world was going through, right? Kind of like the house of God, the house of prayer. You got animals and people being saved in this thing from the trouble he's bringing on the whole world, right? Of fowls after every kind, and of cattle after their kind, of every creeping thing of the earth after his kind, two of every sort shall come unto thee to keep them alive. And take thou unto thee of all food that is eaten, and thou shalt gather it to thee, and it shall be for food for thee and for them. Now, pay attention to this part right here, right? For one, how is a lion and a lamb in close quarters with each other? How? Because they weren't eating meat back then, right? Because in the garden, you got to think there was no death, right? So in the garden, God brought all those animals to Adam, right, and told him to name them. So that means there was a lion there was a bear there was a sheep there was a mouse there, and everybody was just chilling, waiting to be named, right? No eating each other, nothing like that. There was no death, right? And here, you got all these animals on the boat, and they're able to do that because, again, they weren't eating each other, right? And you look here, he's telling Noah to get the food that y'all eat, and you eat it and share it with the animals as well. So animals and people were eating the same thing. They weren't eating each other. Let's keep going. But let's just pay close attention to something in chapter 7, verse 1. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteousness. For thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. Of every clean beast, so this is before the clean and unclean uh, designations in Leviticus. This is before Leviticus. This is before the Ten Commandments. And there are clean and unclean animals. So even back then, a pig was unclean, right? Of every clean beast thou shalt take to thee by sevens. So the clean beast, the cows, the sheep, the lamb, the chickens, they came into the ark by sevens, the male and his female, and of beasts that are not clean by two. So we had more clean animals on there than we had unclean animals, right? And the beasts of that are not clean by two, the male and his female. All right, so let's keep going. All right, go back to chapter 9. All right, so they're on the ark, everybody's chilling, everybody's a vegetarian. Lions aren't worried about Noah looking delicious. Noah's not worried about that cow looking delicious, right? Chapter 9. This is getting off the ark now. And God blessed Noah and his sons and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth. Just like he told Adam and Eve, right? And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth. So that means before that, there was none of that fear and that type of relationship we have now with animals. If I see a lion, I know not to go in the direction of that lion. Here, that wasn't there. Back then, that wasn't there. Before the flood, that was not there. Uh, and the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. So that's why I can't just call that eagle down to chill on my shoulder. That's why I can't just go say what's up to that lion and get his perspective on life, right? Verse 3. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. So it wasn't that way before. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. And so just like we were eating vegetables and fruit and plant-based thing or plants back then uh, in the garden, said that wrong. So what this is saying is that before the flood, we were everything was plant-based. We're plant eaters, we're vegetarians, we're vegans, right? But now he's saying you can eat that. Oh, I did say it right. So he's saying like just like you were eating that before, you can eat meat now, right? You can add that to your diet. And these animals, I put some fear into them, so they're not gonna just sit there and let you come over there and kill them and eat them, right? There's a little cat and mouse game here going on now, right? But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. And that's just a note. Shouldn't be eating our steaks and our burgers rare with blood coming out of it. Uh, shouldn't be eating that swine's blood ice cream that be having on the Food Network channel and the blood sausage and all that nonsense. It shouldn't be eaten meat with the blood in it. It should be well cooked, right? If you're going to eat it. All right. So, no, I kind of fumbled around that, but hopefully you got the point. So let's go to Ecclesiastes. I think it's Ecclesiastes 3:18. Ecclesiastes 3:18. Ecclesiastes 3:18. I said in mine heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. Let me read that again. I said in my heart concerning the estate of the sons of men, that God might manifest them, and that they might see that they themselves are beasts. For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts. So the same thing that happens to men happens to the animals. Even one thing befalleth them. So they all got to go through the same thing. As one dieth, so dieth the other. We all die. Yea, they all have one breath. We all breathe the same air, that breath of life, right? That's when Adam came to life, when he was able to breathe. Just like when baby comes out of the womb, you slap it on his butt, right? Same thing, that breath of life. That's why the life is in the blood, right? What does blood carry? Oxygen, right? Carries what you need, carries the nutrient. Uh, Yea, they all have one breath, so that a man have no preeminence above a beast. You were created on the same day. What makes you more important than that animal? For all is vanity. All go into one place. All are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of beast that goeth downward to the earth? We all had the same lot in life. Let's look at something else. Let's go to Romans. Let's go to Romans 8. Romans 8:18. For I reckon that the sufferings of this present time are not worthy to be compared with the glory which shall be revealed in us. So all the stuff we're going through now, this state of mind that we're in, this body that we got, is nothing. You could have, like I was telling my kids, you could have all the video games in the world, you could have all the cars in the world, you could have all the girls in the world, you could have all the money, you could have the best house, you could have everything you want in this world, and it's not going to compare to the kingdom that's coming. It's not even on the scale. Doesn't even register on the scale compared to what we have coming. That glory and that perfection, that happiness and peace. All right? Verse 19. For the earnest expectation of the creature waited for the manifestation of the sons of God. So this creature here, right? These creatures are waiting for that time as well. For the manifestation of the sons of God. It was like, come on, let's go ahead and get this over with. Go ahead and perfect these humans, so we can stop having to go through what we have to go through as well. For the creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by reason of him who has subjected the same in hope, because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption. So they're in the flesh too. They die just like we read. They die just like we die. Our flesh is corrupt. We die. It's not perfect. It's not going to live forever. It's flesh, right? Because the creature itself also shall be delivered from the bondage of corruption into the glorious liberty of the children of God. All dogs go to heaven. All humans don't go to heaven, but some do. So maybe some dogs go to heaven. You know what I mean? Uh, for we know that the whole creation, every living thing, as my son said, for we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth and pain together until now. We're all going through the same thing. That bird, he's got something better coming too. Cows got something better coming to them. The wolves got something better coming to them. The mice got something better coming to them in that kingdom when everything is perfected. That real Sabbath when everyone is at rest, right? 23. And not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit, even we ourselves grown within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. We're all waiting for the same thing. That dog is waiting for the same thing you waiting for. May not know it or not, but I don't know whether or not it knows it or not. I don't know. Let's go to Revelation 5:13. So they waiting for the same thing. And what are they going to be doing when they get in the kingdom? Hmm? I just thought this was really interesting. I don't know. You might get something out of this or not. I don't know. I thought this was interesting. Revelation 5:13. And every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and every creature which is in heaven and on the earth and under the earth, and such as are in the sea, and all that are in them, heard I saying, blessing and honor and glory and power be unto him that sitteth upon the throne and to the Lamb forever and ever. So every living thing is going to be worshiping the Lord in the kingdom, in the real Sabbath. They get to partake in the real Sabbath, just like they're supposed to be partaking in this weekly Sabbath that we're practicing now, as a reminder of that real Sabbath. We're all supposed to be on the same page, created on the same day. We have no preeminence over them. It's just our job, just like we're supposed to rule over our children and rule over our women, we're supposed to rule over the animals as well, not the kind of dominion that's dominating or demeaning, but it's that leadership. It's taking care of them. It's being precautious. It's thinking ahead. It's making sure they have what they need, uh, making sure that they develop as best as they possibly can develop. And then when we rest, when God rests, we rest. And when we rest, our family rests. And when our family rests, our animals should rest. And waiters and waitresses and manservants and maidservants and everybody else that God has put under our supervision or whatever you want to call it, under our dominion, is supposed to rest, right? So check this out. So go back to the Old Testament, go to Isaiah 11. Isaiah 11, verse 6. The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall feed them. So you can have a wolf and a lamb chilling, a leopard and a baby goat chilling, a calf and a lion chilling together, just like when they were before Adam and he was naming them. So we're going right back to them. And the cow and the bear shall feed their young ones. I'm sorry, I didn't read all that. And the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. So you're gonna have a child in the midst of wolves and lions and leopards, and everything's gonna be chill. And the cow and the bear shall feed, their young ones shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. So we're going right back to that beginning where they weren't worried about eating each other. They weren't worried about eating us. They weren't afraid of us because you got that little child among them. They were eating straw. Back to the vegetarian diet because it's peace. There's no death. There's no corruption. Everything's perfected. Why? And the suckling child shall play on the hole of the asp. Don't have to be worried about snakes. And the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice's den because they don't have to worry about being attacked. Verse 9, they don't have to worry about the cockatrice being fearful of them, like they were after the ark, like they've been since the ark, I should say. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain. His kingdom, there ain't gonna be no hurt nor destruction, just like it was in the garden. Except for this is gonna be permanent. For the earth shall be full of the knowledge of the Lord as the waters cover the sea. As our knowledge of the Lord brings peace. Also brings vegetarianism, apparently. But that's another topic. Um, hmm. So shall not hurt nor destroy in my holy mountain. The only things that hurt and destroy are the works of the flesh. Right? So so what that tells me is that the fruits of the spirit is not only supposed to be uh, exercised or practiced towards people, but it's also supposed to be practiced towards animals as well. You ever seen somebody that was mean to an animal, just hateful? I guess that prodigal son might have felt a bit of jealousy when he was with them swines and woke up in that slop, trying to figure out why he was eating the slop. Maybe he felt jealous about the pigs. Look at that, got to eat. The pigs get to eat. I want some of what them pigs got. Let me go over there. I don't know. So this is one of them random things. Hopefully along the way there was something fruitful or edifying that you could pick from. You know, this was one of those things that just kind of helps you understand something a little bit more. At least that's what it did for me. Uh, so again, happy Sabbath. Have a peaceful one. Enjoy it with your family. Chill out, relax. Make sure you do, because there's more trouble coming tomorrow. So appreciate today. Peace.
2001, the unthinkable happened. Word spread that a lioness in Kenya's Samburu Reserve had taken an antelope calf alive and was guarding it as her own.
I couldn't believe my ears when I first heard about the adoption. I just thought, that's absolute nonsense. Give it a few hours and that lioness will definitely eat the calf.
Saba Douglas Hamilton is wildlife conservationist for the Save the Elephant Trust. She rushed to the reserve to see for herself the lioness and a baby oryx antelope in one of the oddest animal bonds ever seen.
And all of a sudden, there was this completely unheard of situation on our hands of a predator that had adopted its prey.
She was named Kamanyak, meaning the Blessed One.
I think many people felt that this was, had to be a message from God. This was a miracle. This was, the lion and the lamb laying down together.
Kamanyak had done the unimaginable. Instead of eating the baby oryx she had encountered, she adopted it.
She'd only recently separated, which is the way it sounds in this story. She still would be kind of reeling from the experience of no longer having the companionship of the rest of her pride.
What we think happened was that she actually went through quite a traumatic loss, very sudden traumatic loss. And this clicked a switch in her head that just sparked this obsessive compulsive behavior. So that when she came across this baby oryx, instead of seeing food, she saw baby.
I think that she found something that distracted and soothed her.
Days became weeks. Kamanyak displayed little in the way of predatory tendencies towards the calf, and the pair showed no sign of separating.
When the oryx eventually died, the next day she went out immediately and she killed an impala and fed herself. So she was totally functional in terms of being a predator. It's just that she didn't equate food with the baby oryx.
But her odd obsession was not over. Within a month, Kamanyak had adopted another oryx calf.
After this first incident, Kamanyak actually adopted 5 more oryx calves, but none of them lasted as long as the first.
I think she's more like a jailer in that she's just controlling this animal. She's keeping it close by. It's something that's very harmless and inoffensive.
But she obviously felt very strongly for it. I mean, in her mind, this was her baby, and I think...
In the wild, a bond between an antelope and a lion can't last, but it tells of the animal's ability to feel complex emotions.